love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamonds Unbreakable episode 36, part 2 of Bites the Dust. Before I get to the episode, let me talk about the opening. Now, remember back in Star Wars Crusaders with Sonochi no Kyoku that Dio used Zaweldo on the opening to stop time for a brief moment, which was really cool? Well, the same thing happened with Great Days, except with Bites the Dust, where the opening goes backwards, like time was being reversed, which honestly was awesome. I really liked this new effect on the opening, and this got me thinking that this is what Davis Production will do with the other main antagonists when the other parts are going to get animated. So yeah, this new version of Great Days, I really like it. It's really cool. Now in this episode, we see the same events occurring the exact same way, but differently. So it turns out that the events that always happen, even though Bites the Dust will go back in time, it will happen either way. I mean, according to Kira, once fate has happened, it can't be changed. So even if certain things will go differently, certain events within the time loop will happen no matter what. For example, Hayato's face opening up with Heaven's Door, even though he didn't even meet Rohan, and sadly, this also applies with Rohan getting blown up. Even though it was thanks to Bites the Dust, I mean, because it happened within the time loop, it will happen no matter what. Even if time reversed, it will happen again. So we got to see Rohan die again for the second time, which really sucks, especially since, you know, he had no idea why he was dying or what was going on. According to Kira, he was wondering if Rohan was thinking about how he won't be able to draw his manga anymore. Which, by the way, really hits you right here, you know? I mean, that was just, oh. But it gets even worse. It was bad enough that Hayato had to see Rohan die again. But then you have the scene where his spirit, like, passes on the same way as Shigechi. Like, breaking apart with Raimi and Arnold witnessing this and her devastated considering that, you know, she was Rohan's babysitter, which is sad. Why? Why? Oh my god. You know, the only way to stop all this from happening is if Kira undoes Bites the Dust. But he's not going to do that, at least not until all the main characters who are after him will die. So he leaves and Hayato is freaking devastated, blaming himself that Rohan died. And then he runs into Koichi, Jotaro, Okuyasu, and Josuke, who eventually find out that Hayato is the kid in the photo. And Hayato was trying to like make up some excuses to get away from them, because if they start asking questions about Kosaku being Kira or about him in the photo, they're gonna get blown up by Bites the Dust and die. I mean, Hayato even goes as far as to punching his nose, making it bleed so that he can get away from the grip, but since Josuke has Crazy Diamond, there was no need for that. Things started to get pretty tense when they tried to at least ask him a question, to the point where Hayato freaks out and yells at them to not say anything anymore, which got them even more suspicious and obviously will start to ask questions even more. So he was freaking out and he came up with one solution, and it was to commit suicide. Yeah, Hayato was gonna kill himself with a box cutter that he has. I don't know why he has a box cutter, but he was gonna use that to, like, stab himself in the neck and kill himself. God damn, this kid. Seriously, I want to give this kid a hug. I mean, this kid is so brave. Oh my god. But it didn't work, because apparently Bites the Dust activated and prevented Hayato from stabbing himself, and since it activated, Killer Queen got into their eyes, and Jotaro, Josuke, Koichi, Okuyasu, they got blown up. They died. They did. They died. Time reverses yet again for the 4th time, apparently. And this is where you feel so sorry for Hayato. This is where you really feel for this kid, because he's back in his room at the exact same time, the exact same place, and this kid is devastated. He is so sad. He has this sense of hopelessness, and he felt really guilty because he blamed himself for getting Josuke and everybody else killed because of him, which is not true. It's all Kira's fault, but the kid was crying. He was devastated, and that scene alone, it just makes you wish that you can give this kid a hug, because he so deserves it, you know? But even though he was feeling this despair, he decides not to give up because there were two ways to save everyone. Have Kira undo Bites to Dust before Josuke and the others die, or kill Kira. But the thing is, Hayato is not a stand user, so the only way that he could confront Kira and attack him is to use Stray Cat. Since he knows about Stray Cat's air bubble stand ability, he has to use that to attack Kira to land a single shot, killing him. And, you know, he even gets back at Kira in this time loop, you know, having coffee burned on his hand, and even kissing Shinobu goodbye as, you know, his way of saying that he'll protect his mom, and also like a big fuck you to Kira, which was awesome, especially when he was like walking past Kira and gives him this glare at him, which is awesome. The problem is though, Kira isn't dumb. He's smart and he's also very lucky. So he knows that something is up with Hayato, and he was behind a tree observing him, wanting to know what was going on with him. And Hayato notices this, and he really wants Kira to step out of the tree so that he could use Stray Cat to attack him. The time was ticking, like it was almost 8:30. If it's 8:30, then Rohan was gonna die, and he needs Kira to undo Bites to Dust before Rohan dies. So Hayato was panicking, he was starting to, you know, like freak out, but seeing the look on Hayato's face made Kira realize that maybe there wasn't anything going on. So he decides to step out and just, you know, do what he always does. So it seemed that luck was on Hayato's side, since now that Kira was out in the open, he used his Stray Cat to shoot out air bubbles at him, which landed a direct hit on his chest, and he was gonna, you know, land a finishing blow with Stray Cat, but then turns out Kira was okay, punches Hayato, activating Bites to Dust to, like, protect him, or I guess try to, you know, like, activate Bites to Dust again so that, you know, time reversed again, or I don't know. But anyway, it turns out that Kira was protected from Stray Cat's air bullet. And how was he protected? Well, that time when he got his hand burned by coffee when the teacup broke, he took out his watch and put it in his pocket. And that watch protected him from that air bullet, even though we saw the air bullets before going through a thick textbook. Apparently this pocket watch is so strong against Stray Cat's air bullets that it was enough to protect Kira from getting killed by Stray Cat. God fucking damn it! Yeah, it turns out that luck really was on Kira's side instead. I mean, like, fate was on Kira's side, because that fucking watch! Oh my god, I bet this was the same watch that Jotaro insulted, saying that it was ugly, you know, back when he punched Kira with Star Platinum. Well, even though it was an ugly watch, it was a lifesaver for him. So yeah, it seemed that Hayato has failed, and it was getting closer to 8:30, and that was where the episode ends. Overall, this episode was a really good episode. I really liked it. It was very suspenseful, very tense, especially with the music, the voice acting, and even seeing the clock ticking. It just really makes you on the edge, you know, but it also makes you root for Hayato. It seems that there's really more to Bites to Dust, because even if they start asking questions, that won't matter anyway. If Hayato tries to harm himself, then it will activate, which explained why the tiny killer queen prevented Hayato's suicide. And speaking of Hayato, this kid is a great character in part 4. Now, in the last 3 parts, we've had kid characters. Part 1, we had Poco. Part 2, we had Smokey. And part 3, we had Anne, aka the runaway girl. But the thing is, those 3 characters didn't actually contribute much to the main plot. Well, Poco actually did contribute in his own way. But aside from that, Smokey and Anne, they didn't really do much. I mean, they were just there. But with Hayato, on the other hand, he actually was better out of all the kid characters. And with Hayato, he goes through some great growth and character development. I mean, this kid would go as far as to kill himself if it were to save everyone from getting blown up from Bites to Dust. Even though this kid would feel very guilty, scared, devastated, there's always this sense of hope. He would always try to find out a way to, like, stop Kira. Hayato, he is very brave. I mean, according to him, he has this fighting spirit within him, you know? So, yeah, I wasn't actually expecting to really like Hayato, but I did. And this episode made me root for him. But I know that since Kira is the main villain, he has to fight against the main Jojo, Josuke, which will obviously happen in the next episode. But you'd at least root for Hayato anyway to at least, cause some serious damage to Kira, or at least try to get him to deactivate Bites to Dust before Rohan or anyone else dies. And with Kira, I really like Kira as a villain, but this episode really wants Kira's luck to run out. Like, I want some justice served on Kira, courtesy of either Josuke or hell, even Jotaro maybe. So yeah, Diamond is Unbreakable actually did a good job of making me like Kira as a villain, but make me hate him and actually want to see him suffer, someone getting some payback on this guy, Although one part of the episode actually did bug me, and it was when Koichi, Jotaro, Josuke, and Okuyasu meet Hayato for the first time, and they're all wondering why, Hayato looks familiar, like they've seen him from somewhere. And it took Jotaro for them to figure out that Hayato was Hayato because he saw his name on his backpack. But here's the thing, they're all holding photographs of Hayato and Kira. If they just looked at the photos that they're holding in their hands, you can clearly see they have photos in their hands. If they just look closely, then they'll put two and two together, knowing that the kid is the same kid in the photograph. But no! Because it only took Jotaro, Mr. freaking marine biologist, to point it out, but even he didn't look at the photo. And honestly, I was actually wondering if they were going to figure out what happened with Rohan, considering that Jotaro did find Rohan's earring that fell off, before he died. But no, it didn't seem like it. But they were suspicious on what was going on because, Rohan's car was left open, so there was that. But aside from that, the episode overall was really good. But since Josuke and everyone else got blown up by Bites the Dust, it's obvious that Hayato will figure out a way to get Kira to deactivate it before they die, because this is obviously not the end of Diamond is Unbreakable. I mean, there is no way Araki will have part for end with Kira winning and all the main characters dying. Like, could you imagine something like that happen in a part of JoJo? The villain wins and all the heroes die? Like, that'd be freaking devastating. I'd be sad, And here's also the reason why I believe that Bites the Dust will deactivate. It's also because, well, a bit of a spoiler alert here. I am aware that Jotaro actually does show up again in Part 6 Stone Ocean. I'm not going to say, what his role is, because I honestly don't know much about it. And, since he's going to be in Part 6, it's obvious that everyone else is going to be okay. Also, did anyone else notice that when Jotaro got blown up, his face got split open? Which is, the second time? I mean, this is obviously a callback to that future prediction when Jotaro was supposed to get his face split open back in Star Wars Crusaders, but yeah, why do I get the feeling that if Jotaro does die, his face is gonna get split open, just like how Toph predicted? Wait, but he's not gonna, is he? Don't answer that. Please don't answer that. I don't want to know. By the way, speaking of Hayato, I hope when all this is over that, he'll get some help. He'll get some, therapy, because I feel like this kid needs it. Or at least a hug. He definitely needs someone to talk to, because, he's discovering these new powers that he's never seen before, these stand abilities. So hopefully, Jotaro will hook up a therapist from the Speedwagon Foundation so that, he'll get some good counseling, because I feel like this kid really needs it. Episode overall was really good. I really liked it. And we are getting closer to the climax of the series, as the next episode is called Crazy Diamond is Unbreakable Part 1, which means we're gonna get the final battle between Yoshikage Kira and Josuke Higashikata, which definitely confirms that they're all going to survive. All the main characters are going to survive. They're not going to get blown up by Bites to Dust anymore. So there will be a way to get Kira to deactivate Bites to Dust. And I feel like Hayato is going to be the one to force him to do it. That is if he does have another trick up his sleeve, which I actually hope he does, since, since Stray Cat didn't work, obviously there has to be something else. Hopefully he had a backup plan. Oh, and also another thing to bring up, what happened to the arrow? Because last time we saw the arrow, it was embedded inside Kira's arm. So, does Yoshihiro still have it? Which, by the way, I know he's gonna, appear again later on, probably in the next episode or the episode after that. So does Yoshihiro have the arrow again, or did the arrows disappear, or does Kira have it? Like, what happened with the arrow? I was actually wondering about that. But anyway, as I said before, great episode. Looking forward to seeing what happens next. So tell me, guys, what did you think of this episode of Diaries of Breakable? Did you like it? Did you hate it? So how did you feel about seeing Rohan dying again for the second time? Because that was even sadder than before, and especially when Raimi and Arnold saw his spirit. I mean, god damn it, man. I actually like this asshole manga artist, and he had to die again. So hopefully he doesn't die for good, because that would really suck, you know. Also, the scene when everyone else got blown up, I mean, how did you feel about that? Because I know that they're gonna be okay in the end, but just seeing them getting blown up by bites of dust, these are your favorite characters, and seeing them getting hurt, getting killed like this, it just really sucks, you know? Well, be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to more videos, and be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diaries of Breakable episode 36. The final battle is almost there. I'm going to spam 27, and I'll see you guys next time on episode 37, Crazy Diamond is Unbreakable Part 1. Later.